welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show with my co-host Yolanda and Smith, the Branthipus. You know, like I said, I just never know who's going to walk through that door. And once again, we got an artist. This is the artist month for me. I'm getting all kind of artists, and I love it. I love that they want to feature their talents here. But this is another special artist. She walks through the door. You could tell she just got this boom going about herself, that beast frame of mind. And the reason why is her song. We just heard her beautiful new release, and we're going to talk about that and a little bit more of her accomplishments. In the house, we like to welcome no other than the lady herself, Miss K Hugs. So what's going on? We just heard that. Let's just start with what we just heard. We just heard that song. How do you feel? They played it on the radio, and I
feel great. I feel great about that song. And a secret that people don't realize I did in that song is it wasn't originally for me. It was originally for Constance Mack, but Nut Bush he produced it, and he was like trying to write the hook and everything, and he was like asking me for ideas. He was like, give me something like just some beautiful words. I was like, well, what is it about? And so then he played it, and then something came to me. Then like the creative juices started flowing.
Right.
And then I had this idea to sneak in the titles of some of my other songs and one of Nut Bush's songs and one of Bill's songs in the lyrics.
Right.
So in the first and second verses are titles of my songs and their songs.
Before we even get started, I hear it now in my head. Give us a little blow of that new track. The audience want to hear the live version.
The live version.
Yeah.
Let me think. As long as you love me, care for me, show me that I'm the only one you want.
Keep going now.
You'll never have to worry. If it's mutual, then baby, I'll always be there for us. I will never run away. I stay in your arms right where I wanna be.
Girl.
Take my breath away. Send me your promise and I'll be just what you need.
Boy, that's Mary J. Blige talking right there.
You're the third person that has compared that song to Mary.
I mean,
it
sounds, and I heard the whole song, and I'm like,
you.
wow. I mean, like, and you know what? You really start getting that Mary J. Blige towards the middle of the song. So tell the viewers about K Hugs, how the name came about. Take us down the journey real quick.
Oh my gosh. The name came about because my actual name is Kimmy.
Okay.
That's what the K is for. And Huggins is my last name.
Okay.
And I actually used to be a stockbroker.
Okay, okay, keep going.
So I was a stockbroker at Schwab, and I had somebody training me. I was an active trader, and so I would train for active trading and options trading and all of that stuff. And the person that trained me started calling me K Hugs. It's a long story. I don't want to go too far into it, but most people have to take a class, but the timing of it, I would have had to wait months, and I didn't want to wait, so they assigned me one trainer. Okay. And so every day this person trained me, and so I got really good at it because I had one-on-one training for all this stuff. And he just started calling me K Hugs, and then it picked up, and then people started calling me K Hugs. So when I started DJing, I just kept it. I just went with it.
Okay, tell me. All right, this is live. Please subscribe, share, like, review. Give us all of those things that we need to support and keep this playing it forward, so to speak. So, okay, I know what you told me that you did.
Yes.
Give me a resume, because that one really blew my mind when you said stock.
Man, so my resume is ridiculous because I've switched careers over the years, and so I started off in healthcare. I thought that I wanted to be a lab technician.
Okay.
And was.
Okay.
So I was an IV technician, then a lab technician. Something happened, a hospital accident when I was pregnant with my daughter. Blood spilled on me, got out of the healthcare field. Had her, got into insurance, did life and health insurance for a year, and then after that, applied for Schwab and I was a stockbroker, active trader specialist, and then later ended up in the downtown branch as an advisor. Then after that, wealth management, and then I became a mortgage banker and invested in real estate, and then ended up in marketing. Started Angie's Listen, doing marketing for like home services, and then now ended up where I am now with the Atlanta home shows.
You're definitely a beast.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit more about you. I mean, this is crazy. I didn't realize there was so much to you outside of a beautiful voice.
Thank you. I'm very eclectic. I'm 49, 51% left, right brain. So I love
that must be me.
Using my intellect. And I love using my creativity,
right.
And sometimes it comes together with the music. So I use my intellect for the business side of the business and my knowledge. And when I used to DJ and do radio, I use that for that. And then I use...
Back up. You used to do what again? DJ.
I used to DJ and do radio.
Okay.
And after lunch with K Hugs.
Man.
On neojazzradio.com.
I like jazz.
Not boring jazz.
Speaking of jazz, I noticed that you had the jazz vibe in that song.
Yes.
Is jazz one of your favorites?
It's
musicals?
one of my favorites. I grew up on smooth jazz.
Yeah.
Road trips with my family, and we had it playing in the house all the time, and so I have a love for it. I have twin cousins that are into jazz. My cousin Jared, he plays saxophone. He's with Premium Blend. He just put out a new jazz album. So he's on my new song Chemistry on my Naked album, and that one
Chemistry of Mine what?
It's on my I have an album released called Naked. It's called the Naked album.
Okay.
And Chemistry just hit over 146,000 streams last week. And
That's hot.
The album's growing. The album is growing. I'm very happy. But Jared did his thing. He's an amazing sax player. He's heavy into like the jazz. He like played at the Jazz Kitchen. He plays everywhere, but he's pretty known in the city.
Now we was talking about the music.
Yeah.
You had your career is crazy. Let's be real. Why music?
I can't. It doesn't go away. Like it's part of me. Like sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night with a song on my mind, and I can't go back to sleep until I write it. So.
Did you have that kind of feeling when you were working at Schwab's?
Yeah, I did, and people at Schwab knew that I sang.
Really?
And matter of fact, that's actually how music was resurrected and how I ended up doing radio, because one of the guys that worked there, Steve, he was like, hey, didn't you used to DJ back in the day? And, talking, people get to hearing things.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, I did. And he had started a jazz station, and I originally started working with him, and his was, it used to be indiejz.com, and then it ended up being, he changed the name, and I can't think of what he changed. It was like Cool something, Cool...
I'll look it up.
Smooth Jazz and Cool Grooves. I can't remember. Cool Groove Radio, I think is what it was. He switched it, and then I ended up leaving that station and creating my own due to I had somebody that wanted to advertise with me, and he just wanted to advertise me, and he knew I was smart, and he was like, hey, can you do a station? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, I'll pay for everything. I don't even want to ownership in it. I'll take care of whatever you need. I just want to advertise with you. So within a week, I figured out how to run a internet radio network and launched Neo Jazz Radio.
I can't stand you. You know that, right? You know how long it took me to learn what I'm learning?
Well, I know how to build websites. I know how to do graphics, and so I do a lot. And but I love creating. So whether it's like doing projects at home, doing graphics, doing websites.
What side of your brain is working right now, so I know which direction I need to go?
Right now, I think it's the creative side.
Okay. So, what were there had to be some type of struggles or something. You had all these great careers. I mean, they just don't happen to anybody. You had the chances to do these things. What was the struggle with going from that to music? Because the music industry has changed.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that transformation.
Well, it's kind of in tandem, actually. So the struggle with music is the money. Like, it's hard to be an independent artist and make the money like the big celebrities do. So I use my work as a tool to fund my passion, which is the music. The biggest struggle I had was being, in a marriage in the past where it wasn't encouraged for me to sing. Matter of fact, it was completely discouraged. So
how did you manage to go through that?
I felt lost. I actually wrote about that in my poem Resurrection on my first album, She Reigns.
Because a lot of people don't realize that even somebody in your house can be your not believing in you can cause that.
I'm not sure if it was a thing of belief. It was something else. I don't think it was he didn't believe in me, because he would brag to all his friends about my abilities. It was something else going on with him, and I could never, I'm not in his head, so I can't say, speak on his behalf, but it was just a very strong desire.
You felt you had to go do what you had to do to get where you at.
Yeah. So when I was working at Schwab, the guy that eventually asked me to DJ, I actually recorded like a demo song with him in the studio when I worked at Schwab, and I actually loved it. It turned out really good and brought it home. I was so proud, and my ex, we got into a big argument all because I went to the studio. Like, it was horrible. So soon as I got out of that marriage, the first thing I did was, well, not the first thing, but one of the first things I did was I just posted on my wall something like, hey, I'd love to sing in a band, and without even really...
You put it out there.
I just put it out there, and somebody picked me up, and I ended up in the Ground Zero band. I was in the Ground Zero band for a year, and then I decided I wanted to write, and they were doing covers, and so I left the band gracefully, and I bowed out. And what was crazy about that was the night that I sent them the email that I was leaving, it wasn't anything negative. It wasn't, I wished them well. I wrote my song So Long, which was my first single and the first song on my first album, She Reigns. And what happened was I posted the song after I recorded it, and I wrote it the night I left the band. I posted the song, and then I picked up 3 gigs and had to find a band because I just left my band.
And that's crazy.
To pick up the 3 gigs, and then it just blew up from there. I've opened for SWV, Anthony Hamilton, Zap Band. And
how does that feel?
It feels surreal. It feels surreal.
Were you nervous? Like SWV, Anthony Hamilton?
I was nervous. So I had a nervous encounter with Anthony Hamilton.
Tell me about it.
So my family are big supporters. So all of my siblings, my dad, my mom, we all hopped in an SUV in different cars, and it was in Cleveland, Ohio.
Are we there yet?
So we get to the venue, and it's this large venue or whatever. And I had to go and get my family's like wristbands to be able to get into the show. And I had the instructions, and I was supposed to go down the stairs, but I went up the stairs. And when I went up, that's how I ran into Anthony Hamilton. So he's up there with his band and his entourage. They got like a buffet of food, like right at the top of the steps. So I get at the steps, and I see Anthony's like right in front of me, and I'm like looking at him from like lower on the steps. And I was like, "You're Anthony Hamilton." Like he didn't know. And then it was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'm lost." And I was like, "I'm singing with you today." And then I was like, "No, I'm not singing with you today. I'm singing for you today." "No, I'm not singing for you. I'm opening for you today." And I'm sure he was like, Lord, I was so embarrassed because I couldn't get out what I was trying to say. I was a little starstruck a little bit, but he was very gracious and gave me a hug and told me where to go. And
what happens when you're done with tours, with events like that? Do the more advanced, experienced singers like that come to you and give you some feedback, or is it just they're on their own?
What? I had that happen once. I don't know if you remember who Noel Gourdin is. He had that song "The River" back in the early 2000s. I ran out of breath. Early 2000s. It goes, "I held my breath when they dipped my head, and I came up shiny and new. Found out about love in the back of my Impala, where they laid my grandfather too. Now by the river where black folk." So I opened for him in Kentucky. And I would say he's the only like celebrity that watched my whole set before I opened for him. And he came up to me and was like you perform with a passion that I haven't seen in a while. Like, he was very supportive. We follow each other now on social media, and he was just very graceful, and it was kind of crazy because there was another girl from London that opened before him too, and everybody like knew her and loved her, and she had a table with her CDs, I had a table with my CDs, and everybody gravitated to hers. And Noel Gordon, bless his heart, came to my table, was the first one at my table and was the first one to buy my CD. And then when they saw that, everybody followed in line behind him.
That's a straight up monkey see, monkey do moment.
Yes. But I was very grateful that he did that for me. That was very sweet.
So what are some of the? So what is the most impactful thing that has happened since you have now ventured back into the music industry?
Impactful.
Because get real, your job resume is off the chart. The concert tours is off the chart. So I know something, several things probably has been like mind blowing for you.
I've had some mind blowing experiences. I would say within the last year, the two things there's three.
Go ahead.
I've got 3 different songs that I released in the last 12 months that have all reached over 100,000 streams. And I brought beatboxing back into one of those. That's surreal.
Really?
The song is called "Oh My God."
Look,
GAWD.
Oh my God.
But people love the song, and it's
got a real beatbox.
Yes, I called a guy we call Bassface.
Right.
He lives in Illinois, and he rode his motorcycle up here or down here to record his beatboxing, and he's beatboxing over me doing runs.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm like going, oh my God, and he's beatboxing while I'm doing it, and I'm going like this. You'll have to hear it because I'm like doing the run. I keep doing this run over and over, and he's beatboxing while I'm doing it, and it's just really cool. What? But the surrealness though was I saw that I was on a Billboard playlist and hit Billboard Hot Top 80. I got a notification. I was like looking at my artist Spotify. I was like, wait a minute, is that Billboard? And everybody was like, that's legit. And I was legit on Billboard. And then Nut Bush got a message from someone about Back to the Music last year, and somebody was like, hey, you're number 7, and sent him a screenshot. We didn't know what it was, and I was like, well, ask him on what? Like, on number 7 on what? So he asked the guy, and the guy sent him a bigger screenshot. I was number 7 on Amazon's hot new releases on Amazon Music.
There you go, girl.
And it was up there for weeks. And so it's like all these hundreds of thousands of songs, and I'm like number 7 with Back to the Music. It was awesome.
I'm available to carry bags or to be a bodyguard or anything, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, those milestones, like the 100K and the Billboard and the being on Amazon hot new releases, like all of those are things that like I didn't even know I wanted that, like it just happened, and I'm glad. Like I know I want a Grammy, but it's going to take things like that to get me there. I feel like I can do it. But
it's kind of cool how the music has always been in you. Yeah. But you travel different roads and succeeded in those different roads. A lot of people don't have a lot of struggles, but you still succeeded until something just called you back to the music industry. Yeah. What I'm interested in, we just talked about this with some other artists, is attaching your wagon. Why'd you attach your wagon to Nutbush?
That is interesting. So over the years, we've been Facebook friends for years, but we didn't really know each other until last year. And so I used to work exclusively as far as recording with Chris Kelly, who passed during the pandemic. He passed in December of 2020. Mm-hmm. And he's was a platinum producer, and for over 10 years, I exclusively recorded everything with him, even if I used other producers, because I used producers from around the world on my first album. But Chris was always who I recorded those songs with, and he produced some of my songs too. So when he passed, I didn't have that anymore. So I'm like, just basically stopped recording for a little while, and people were approaching me, and I was like, first it was like I was waiting on him to get well, and then when that didn't happen, it was like I can't do it right now. Like, and then finally, like it was like right timing. Like Nutbush came and was like, hey, like, let's do a song. And I was done with my Naked album. I was done with every song on the album. I was ready to release it. And he was like, hey, let's do a song. I was like, well, the album's done, but send me something. Didn't think anything of it. He sent me the bomb track, Back to the Music. I loved it. And that's the song that like took off on the album.
Really?
So I'm glad we added that as the bonus track on the album. And we also released it as a single.
He's a triple platinum artist, correct?
He is a platinum artist and quadruple platinum songwriter. So he's platinum as a recording artist on the Nutty Professor album, and he's a quadruple platinum writer on the Key Sweat album.
How much has your career and your trajectory in this career changed by attaching your name to someone like that? And this is a two-part. And explain to me what we was talking about, the difference. You are affiliated with with a record label. Let's talk about that a little bit, and then your relationship with the legend Uncle Jams.
Uncle Jams,
yeah. That's a 3-part question.
Well, doors have opened that are different doors than I had before when I was working with Chris, because Nutbush is such an accomplished musician. You know, he's, multi-platinum songwriter, artist. He writes, sings, plays multiple instruments. So the brilliance of his, I guess, music ability is elevating my sound.
Yeah.
So with that, we got Back to the Music, and we have As Long, and he also produced my vocals on As Long. So, I'm like trying to go into my falls. He's like, no, sing from your natural. I was like, what's my natural? Like, he had to explain, like, it's basically, my mom used to always say, sing from your diaphragm. So that's your natural. And so, but it was some sweat. I was literally sweating in the studio with Back to the Music and As Long, because singing that hard, like, it's literally a workout. And I was definitely sweating in the studio and had to take some breaks and drink some water. But yeah, so the elevation of the sound is from that. And then of course, Bill is the business side of the Zoomies Entertainment, and he carries out everything as far as like our showcases and making sure that the pushes go out properly with everybody. So now we operate as a team, and then I do my part with the graphics, because I do album graphics. So I did Hello Me graphics, I did the As Long cover, I did Bill's cover for The Lucky One, and I did Nutbush's cover for Used to Be a Player Fun.
Multi-talent.
So we all have different roles that we do.
Now you guys teamed up with Uncle Jams.
Yes, so that connection is through Nutbush as well. So Nutbush was under MECAP with Uncle Jams, and Uncle Jams, of course, he has all of his artists, Kelsey, Damon Carl, 12, K-Rob, I believe is one of the newer ones he has, and he's got several other artists. And so I've been seeing over the years the things that they've been doing, but because of the relationship that Nutbush had with him, now Bill and I are also affiliated with MECAP, even though we're not under MECAP.
What is the music industry turning into now? What is it evolving to in your eyes?
Well, I would say there's 2 parts to it. So there's a lot of the mainstream, to me, is just kind of cut and dry. It's kind of like repeat, like, everything kind of sounds the same to me. But for independent artists, I think that the streaming world has done 2 things. It's opened the door for independent artists to be able to release their music and get heard, but at the same time it hurts because we don't get those royalties from when people used to buy the music. We don't get the streaming royalties are so low. So for an artist to make it, I do love that I've had a few songs with over 100,000 streams, but that doesn't mean $100,000. It just means that many people are listening to your music. However, that's not a bad thing. Like I mean, the money will come. I'm not worried about the money. But
a lot of people don't like to hear that, but the bottom line is, the money will come. But you got to keep putting in the work.
Yeah, you got to put in the work, and the more people that hear the music, the more opportunities you have. And so, like, we pushed the music. We haven't pushed Back to the Music in months, and there's still people like continually listening to it from the earlier pushes we did. So we just keep doing that just to get more and more ears on the music. And then from that, like, people will start asking for interviews. People start, sharing it with their friends. People are start asking you to, perform live. And so opportunities come from that. And from there, you can get the money. So, if people hear the music and they like it, you can't go wrong.
What do you think people struggle with being an independent artist? What is the struggle for that you've witnessed?
Well, it depends on what your goal is. So if your goal is instant fame, that's a struggle, because being an independent artist, unless you have the majors backing you, you're not going to get instant fame. Like, you can put out the bombest track on Spotify yourself with no team, and it doesn't matter if nobody hears it. So if they don't know how to push it, they don't know how to do the business side, they don't know how to encode their songs, they don't know how to, push it to the DJs, they're spamming their family and friends. So now family and friends don't want to hear it, even though it could be the best track they've ever heard it. But this person done got on their nerves spamming. So you've got to know how to advertise. You got to know how to, like, move the right way in order to be able to be heard and seen.
And when you're independent artist, you gotta know it all, basically.
Yeah, you do, because I mean, I've had management before. I've had 2 different managers, and one was in Hollywood, one was in Texas. And my first manager in Hollywood, he was like up there, like, doing stuff with Pitbull and Michelle Montano, the biggest soca artist out of Trinidad and Tobago. But he wasn't able to give me the time that he was given to those other artists, so I didn't re-sign my contract, because I was promised these things and it wasn't delivered. So I just was like, well, I might as well just figure it out on my own. If I'm going to be tabled,
right,
I might as well just do it on my own instead of just being tabled and being sat there.
Before we wrap up, what's the end game?
The end game is to be heard, and I would eventually like a Grammy. I really want a Grammy. I feel like I can get one, and I also want to encourage people to live out their dreams. So I don't want to just be out there.
You definitely done it.
Thank you. Like,
man,
I want people to see me and be like, dang, she did it. Like, okay, I can do it. Like, no matter what your passion is, doesn't have to be music. No matter what your passion is, like, you can do it. Like, you can be and have anything you want. You just have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, others won't believe in you.
2 things you got to do before we wrap up. Mm-hmm. You got to blow one more song, one of your favorites, not the new one that just got released.
Okay.
One that takes you back to, you go, wow, and give a little reason why you picked that song. And then after that, leave the viewers with something mindful.
I'm going to say Send Me an Angel on my first album.
Go.
And okay, all right. My mind has been weary. My heart has been scorned. My soul has been discouraged. And I feel so worn. Lord, I know you love me, but I can't do this alone. Oh, God, send me an angel to protect my heart and soul. God, send me your angels to deflect what's not of you. And then it goes into, like, more of the hook.
Why that song?
That's the song that I wrote in the middle of my divorce. I was having a woe is me moment of, why am I going through this? And then right after that, I had an epiphany moment of, God, you gave me all this. So send me an angel. This was me asking for help to push me where I want to go and where I want to be.
That's deep. Leave the audience with something motivational.
You know what? Whatever you believe is true. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. So it's better to just believe in yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been no other than the next Grammy winner.
I received that.
I got to get a ticket to this now. The next Grammy winner, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Miss K. Hugs and Andre the Beast Crayton.